Well, a Macon woman says the intersection outside of her neighborhood is dangerous and is driving her crazy. Taylor Hicks shows you the problem on Peak Road. That story, it is still ahead. Well, good Monday morning. You're taking a live look over a beautiful downtown Macon, Central Georgia. I just want you to stop what you're doing and take a look at this beautiful sunrise. It's going to set the tone because you are going to have a great week. The time is now 6:30 a.m. on this November the 8th. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Wanya Reese.
I'm Caitlin Heck, and it is a beautiful but cold start to the day,
yes.
So make sure you bundle up heading out the door, Courtney.
That's right. Yeah, you definitely need to, because while it looks beautiful, if you don't like the cold, it doesn't necessarily feel beautiful. But overall, I mean, you can see every color in this sunrise. You see the reds and the oranges and the yellows. And this time of year, now that we have made it past the autumnal equinox, the Earth is starting to tilt away from the sun. It's weirdly enough getting closer to the sun. It does that in the wintertime, but we're tilting away. And that makes the sun angle a little bit longer. So the sunlight has to pass through more atmosphere when we start to tilt. And the longer wavelengths create reds and oranges and yellows on the color spectrum. So there's your science lesson for the day. That's why we see the really beautiful sunrises in the fall, because these sun angles are a little bit smaller, or larger, I should say. Anyway, all right, 36 right now in the city of Macon. Before I get too much into my science lesson and nerd out on the weather, it's my job, I guess, right? It's cold out there. Temperatures generally in the 30s, 34 in Gordon, 38 in Warner Robins, and 39 in Forsyth. We're at 42 in Montezuma and 35 in Eastman. It's going to be a beautiful day. We'll continue to see lots of sunshine. That will change by the second half of the week, though, thanks to a front. Those details are in a few minutes.
Well, thank you so much, Courtney. Right now, the search is still on for a 22-year-old man police suspect of shooting a Henry County police officer last week.
The case unfolded just over half an hour away from Central Georgia. Our station in Atlanta says last Thursday, 38-year-old officer Paransa Desai responded to a home in McDonough for a domestic situation. Police say someone shot the officer shortly after he got there. Henry County Police identified the suspect as Jordan Jackson. He is wanted on aggravated assault charges. Last week, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation issued a blue alert for Jackson, which means he is considered a public safety threat. Investigators say you should be cautious if you run across the 22-year-old. Right now, former NBA player Shaquille O'Neal is among people and groups chipping in for a $30,000 reward for any information leading to Jackson's arrest.
Police say Officer Desai is in critical condition at the hospital right now. Over the weekend, Governor Brian Kemp actually took to Twitter asking people to keep the officer in your thoughts and prayers. Our Atlanta station says he's a 17-year veteran in law enforcement and is married with 2 kids.
Now to 3 more headlines from across the state. Witness testimony continues today in the trial for 3 men accused in the Ahmaud Arbery case.
The trial officially started last Friday in Glenn County after more than 2 weeks of jury selection. Friday featured opening statements from both the prosecution and defense in the murder trial of father and son Greg and Travis McMichael and William Roddy Bryan. Prosecutors say the McMichaels assumed the worst when they spotted Arbery walking out of an open construction site while jogging in the neighborhood.
Defense attorneys explained their side, describing the McMichaels as watching out for fellow residents after a series of break-ins and burglaries in their neighborhood. They say Travis McMichael, who is accused of shooting Arbery, acted in self-defense. Now, prosecutors also began calling their first witnesses, including an officer who responded.
The McMichaels and Bryan face murder charges in connection to Arbery's 2020 shooting death. Court continues at 9 this morning. Well, calling 911 may not be as simple for people in Atlanta this morning. A post from the city's government Facebook page says they're dealing with limited capacity with their 911 system. It's because of a temporary power outage, so they ask that you only call if it's a true emergency. The city also says starting at 7 a.m. you can reach ATL 311, but remember, that's Atlanta's number for non-emergency city services.
Well, driving down the road will still cost you a pretty penny in Georgia. AAA says gas prices remain elevated, with drivers paying an average of $3.25 a gallon for regular unleaded. That's 22 cents more than last month and up $1.33 from this time last year. AAA expects prices to stay raised through the Thanksgiving holiday. Well, today, concerned Macon homeowners could get some answers on a flooding problem in their neighborhood. County Commissioner Bill Howell will meet with them in South Bibb this afternoon. Howell says an engineering firm studied the growing flooding problem around Houston Road. He says nearly every time they get heavy rain in a short period of time, subdivisions there flood. Howell has a forum at 5:45 at the South Bibb Rec Center to update you on what the engineers found.
Looking ahead, big dollar items are on the agenda for Macon Bibb County commissioners tomorrow. That includes deciding whether to set aside over $500,000 in COVID-19 funds towards expanding the Middle Georgia Community Food Bank. County leaders will also talk about the possibility of putting $375,000 $1,000 into renovations at the Brookdale Resource Center. Then they'll consider putting over $250,000 of SPLOST funds into building a convenience center for solid waste disposal. County leaders will hold a committee meeting tomorrow morning at 9. Well, November 11th is just 3 days away. That's the day the country will recognize our Veterans Day. It's a time to say thank you to the men and women who have served in the armed forces.
That appreciation came a few days early in Macon as organizers held a celebration yesterday. The Macon Bacon and Cherry Blossom Festival teamed up with the county to bring you the Blossoms and Bacon Veterans Day event. It started with a parade around 3rd and Cherry Streets. Now,
patriotic-themed floats cruised down the roads. Military units and marching bands followed along, all while American flags waved through the air, honoring those who served our country. Now, 2 veterans in Macon say they're proud of what the county did.
I do want to thank everybody for coming out today, and I hope we continue this, and I hope people remember, if you've not got a job and you graduate from high school and you can't find a job, how about joining the armed services, because they so need you.
It means a lot, because when I got back to the state, you know, they really treated us bad. They treated us, called us baby killers. Everything you can name, we were called, and we just wasn't treated fairly. And so to see something like this for the veterans really, you know, brings joy to my heart.
And they definitely deserve all of that celebration and more. After the parade, Luther Williams Field welcomed everyone in for more activities, including beer tastings, food trucks, and live music.
I know, and it's great to see them all there smiling, especially to see Mr. Danny Porter. He's one of our very, very loyal viewers, so thank you so much for your service. And you know, that also included a concert from country singer Rodney Atkins, and fireworks followed that show. All this week, we want to honor Central Georgia's vets. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the photos that you sent in to us. Here are Desert Storm veterans John Harris, Kim Griffin, and Darrell Woodall 30 years later. Absolutely beautiful.
Now, Ramonda Dixon sent in this picture of her husband, Joseph Dixon Sr. He served 22 years in the Army as an infantry soldier. And here is U.S. Army vet Mr. Albert Bell. Thank you to all of you for your service. We could not be where we are without you. Wartime or peacetime, domestic or abroad, we are honoring Central Georgia veterans all throughout the week.
I want you to keep on sending in those photos of the vets that you would like to recognize. I want you to tell us where they're from and where they serve. So text that picture to 478-752-1309, and we might just feature them right here on 13 WMAZ News. Well, the time is now 6:37 a.m. I'm happy that they were able to have that parade on yesterday, because the weather, Courtney, looks like it's going to be a little unstable as we get a little further on to the week.
That's right, yeah. So the Veterans Day parade, obviously lots of sunshine, low 70s. It was gorgeous. But for Veterans Day itself, that's when that next front is going to roll through. So the forecast will look a little bit different. And we're going to talk about it all coming up in just a few minutes here. For the start of the day, it's cold. All of you students and teachers heading back to the books and the classrooms today after a hopefully wonderful weekend that you had. Of course, we all got that extra hour of sleep, so that always makes it a little nicer. It's cold out there. Have the jacket. But as you make your way home from school today, temperatures will be in the low 70s and we'll see a lot of sunshine, just like we are for the start of the day. A gorgeous sunrise to kick off your morning here in Macon. I was going to show another sky cam, but this one just takes the cake. The sunrise is glowing. Look at, you can see all the temperature gradient. It's beautiful. And in the fall time, you do see sunrises like this because the sun has to travel through more atmosphere. The sun's rays have to travel through more atmosphere as we start to tilt away from the sun in the wintertime. And those longer sun angles, you get the colors on the color spectrum that require longer wavelengths, which are those reds, oranges, and yellows instead of those purples and blues. Anyway, so that's the reason we're going to see some beautiful sunrises in the fall. Hopefully we can see some more of them as we go through this week, as we will see a good bit of sunshine. 36 in Macon, 38 in Warner Robins, 34 in Gordon. Of course, without the cloud cover, our temperatures dropped very quickly, especially with that wind coming out of the north. So we're waking up in the 30s and 40s. 43 in Butler, 42 in Montezuma, and 35 in Eastman. As we go through the day today, expect lots of sunshine to stick around. It's going to be another phenomenal day. Temperatures will gradually warm through the morning. It will stay in the 50s through around 10 o'clock, and then we'll head back into the 60s by 11, and we'll top out again in the low 70s for the day today. Beautiful and fall-like. Of course, all that sunshine, our nice and cool mornings, our warm afternoons, thanks to high pressure and control of our forecast. That's that sinking air. It's not going to allow a lot of moisture to creep in, so our humidity is going to be nice and low as well, and that's going to prevent a lot of cloud cover from building. Now, that's going to change as we head into the the second half of the week, thanks to a front that's building out to our west, bringing snow to parts of Colorado and rain to parts of the Midwest and the plains. Now, that's going to offer us a rain chance as we head into Thursday and Friday. You can see about a 60% coverage. Of course, Thursday is Veterans Day. Thankfully, it doesn't look like we're going to have any severe weather along this. We've been getting pretty lucky with that along our fronts lately. Let me knock on some wood. And then Friday, we're going to be at about a 50% coverage of rain, mainly for the morning. We'll take you through it. As we head into Thursday, here's 10 o'clock in the morning. The Euro thinks we could maybe have some rain enter the forecast in the morning, but by and large, most of our rain is going to come along that front as we head into Thursday evening. So you can see we'll start to pick up that coverage. Physical front will be pushing into Alabama and parts of far northwest Georgia, and then through central Georgia as we head through the overnight hours on Friday. So while a lot of us are sleeping, hopefully it won't cause too many issues for that commute. It might be a little bit rainy for that commute home on Thursday though, but we'll worry about that the closer it comes. As we head into Friday morning, the Euro already off the coast. So the European model hints we're going to be colder on Friday afternoon than the GFS because the GFS is just a little slower to get out of here. Either way, by Friday night, so for all the football games on Friday, any Friday night plans, it looks good. It's just going to be breezy, and of course it's going to be cold, but it's better than last week when we were cool, drizzly, windy, cloudy, all of the above. Was not great. Now Monday, you could see this cloud cover that's kind of forming here on the long range model. That's a piece of a front that's going to push through and ultimately reinforce our cold air. So once we get cold over the weekend, it's going to stay pretty chilly. I'll show you on the 7-day forecast. Over the next couple of days, it's going to be beautiful, sunny and warm. Temperatures in the 70s, cold mornings. We'll bring back rain Thursday and Friday along that front. Temperatures through the weekend in the 50s and 60s, and we're waking up in the 30s on Sunday. So don't go putting those jackets away. All right, everybody, as we go to break, you've seen my Facebook Live sessions at 7:45, and now I'm taking Coffee with Court on the road. It kicked off last week, and tomorrow I'll continue my On the Road series by hanging out at a Macon coffee shop where faith is the focus, and friends, of course, gather every day. Don't miss Coffee with Court. That's tomorrow starting at 6 a.m. on 13 WMAZ News Morning.